Today I want to talk about sex. What is our experience of it as a Western society, and especially as women? Why do I want to talk about that? Well, because I think it's one of the biggest traumatizing experiences of the human psyche as of today. In my previous video, I talked about money, and money can create a lot of tension for a lot of people because, as a culture, we've had, let's say, a negative history with it, and the same is for sex. When in reality, at its most aligned and divine version, sexuality can be an insane power center for all humans. So let's dive right in. Number one, the existence of orgasms. So growing up, I always thought that there's only one type of orgasm, which is clitoral for women and whatever men experience. But in reality, women are able, and men are able, to experience full body orgasms, energy orgasms. Women also have vaginal and cervical orgasms, which are spiritual experiences that connect you with God and just open your consciousness to other planes. And if you don't think that something like that exists, then sex becomes just this very basic stress relief, something that you have to deal with. So knowing that there is so much more potential to a person's sexual expression is essential for opening our minds to more. Number two, I don't think there's, again, a more traumatized, misaligned area of human experience than sexuality. And we've all, especially women, have been conditioned that sexuality is bad, it's wrong. If you're engaged in it too much, you're a whore or a slut. If you're not, then you're a prude, and there's really no way to get it right. And there's very few women who have reclaimed sexuality for themselves and use it for what it is, an infinite energy source, a way to connect with ourselves, a way to have inherent pleasure. And that is why it's so important for us to rewrite the narrative and not assume things that we have been fed by society, who doesn't even believe the things it says. So I don't think anyone wants women disconnected from their sexuality, being, rigid, not having orgasms, not being able to talk about sex, because that's just not a woman who's having a full life experience. And I think everyone wants fun, sex-loving, pleasure-loving, life-loving people around them. So that is why it's so important to go past that conditioning and everything we've been fed and to create a new narrative for ourselves. I'd be thinking, who cares? There's so many issues in the world. Why is this an important one? Well, because not being connected to our sexuality and our bodies leads to so many more problems than we initially think. One, people are disconnected from their bodies and the wisdom of their body, and then people live up in their head where you can only access so much. People loop through and stay stuck in their problems instead of accessing their feelings. Second of all, because people feel like that, they never feel really truly relaxed and in pleasure, and they become reactive, angry, stressed, and that's where a lot of bigger conflicts originate from, where if someone just felt good all the time, they wouldn't feel the need to go and attack somebody or be aggressive. And finally, we become vulnerable to marketers or anyone really to take that need for assurance and for feeling good and sell us a product or a service or some kind of solution, when in reality it was all inside us and at our fingertips. So what am I proposing? Well, first of all, we need to open the dialogue. So we need to bring sexuality out of the shadows, just like money, and make it a commonplace topic. Like, you can ask somebody, what's your salary? How much did you buy that for? Where did you make that money? What do you do to make that money? And to make it a normal thing of conversation. Same thing for sexuality. Second of all, to make it a priority. So because it's been such a hush taboo topic, a lot of people don't even think to look for solutions in their sex. So for example, I was at this one conference, a women's conference, and it was all about stress and putting yourself first and taking time for self-care. And in this whole day, sex was not mentioned once. Some people wanted to start talking about it, but then the MC kept hushing them and putting them away. It was kind of a joke, but it's not really, because it is still not a publicly accepted topic. So yeah, and if for all these women, you know, if they just had more sex and real sex, then they would not have these issues of, you know, stress and overwhelm, etc., etc. Thirdly, reframe our idea of sexuality. I think in the West, we think we're so liberated, and to an extent we are. You know, I think it's still better to be able to have a one-night stand than be stoned to death because you chose to engage sexually with someone. But we're not using it to its full potential. So we do, you know, we have pornography, and we have, like, it's all very readily available and you can hook up with whoever you want, but there's really no skill and no knowledge. So two teachers that I really look up to, and if you have any more, please leave them in the comments, are Layla Martin and Kim Anami. So they bring Tantra and Taoism into the present time, and they put their spin on all these teachings and basically give you all the tools to learn how to engage with your body and create these small daily practices of self-pleasure and of just connecting with your body. So yeah, and then I've also created a course coming from someone that was very disconnected sexually and was very much afraid of being called the slut and had all the limiting beliefs you could think of, and just coming into a much more embodied and just taking a lot more ownership for what I have and what I am. And Layla and Kim's courses are great, but I think once you're, you know, so advanced, it's kind of difficult to come back to the beginning and feel what you felt when you first started. And that's kind of where I teach from. Is I made it almost immediately after I had some kind of shifts and transformations in order to basically document it, not 20 years later, but right in the moment of when I changed beliefs or made some big shifts in regards to my sexuality. So thank you. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.